Hi, this is Dizzy, or the Classy Aspie, and I want to talk about proprioception in autism. Proprioception is the ability basically to touch your nose without looking at your hand, or to move your feet where you want them to go without looking down. So it's something that is relative to everyone, but I'm going to be talking about it in relation to autism today. The proprioceptive system is located in the muscles and the joints. There's a lot more to it, but as far as like the super sciencey medical stuff, I will leave that to you and your research, and we'll talk about the autism. I'm going to list off proprioceptive behaviors that are often markers for autism, but be aware that just like there are sensory seekers and sensory avoiders, or people who are sensory, my mic might have just recorded my stomach, sensory aversion, sensory seeking, and usually a combination. A child with issues or adult with these issues around their body awareness, they might avoid all the things I'm about to list kind of severely rather than engaging in them quite a lot more than would be normal. Okay, so be aware that it's the extremes that make it more of a trait. These can be biting, chewing, hyperextension, squeezing objects, banging parts of the body together. For me, this looks a lot like this. Throwing oneself on the floor, which I won't demonstrate. Walking on tiptoes, which I frequently do, but you can't see my toes. Stomping when the child is meant to walk. Overall, rough and tumble play, which I think is one of the reasons I got along with little boys so well. So again, there's a seeking element and an aversion element here. And I actually had a professional friend point out to me in multiple candid photos. I've been making an effort to post quite a lot of candid photos so that if anything I'm doing is autism posturing, or I'm caught off guard doing something sensory seeking or whatever, it can go into, my Instagram posts about autism. And I really need a chair. I'm sitting on like a folded blanket on a folded blanket on a folded blanket on a folded blanket. I'll insert some of the images here. So as you can see, I frame myself a lot when I move around. I'm often trying to make a perception of where I am and where my body is. Now, what you don't know, or you might know, is that when I was 11, I was diagnosed with body dysmorphia. And I wasn't diagnosed as being on the spectrum until I was 20. Although the talk began when I was like 18 and 19. And I definitely think my body dysmorphia stems from my issues with perceiving where I am. I feel much bigger than I am. I almost feel like I have not extra limbs, because I know people get phantom limbs, so I'm not even going to go there. I feel like, if you ever see the movie Over the Moon goddess changes size and gets really tall and really small, like she just has no actual physical size she has to stick to because she's an immortal Chinese moon goddess. Why would you? I feel kind of like that. Not the Chinese moon goddess part, the size changing thing. I do feel like a moon goddess, but I'm not going to say I feel Chinese. I feel like that's a problem. Things that help with this issue include things like balance beams, running, rough play, things like push-ups, I'm going to say running 800 times. Dancing, for me, learning to box actually helped. Things like ballet can help. And a lot of it is like fine motor skill adjustments, but bigger. I feel like that's the best way I can describe it. A child or adult with issues with proprioception might need deep pressure. And that means more than the 5-pound weighted blanket you're going to get at Walmart. It means like deep pressure squeezes, deep hugs. I've made some comments about that some people haven't liked about how meltdowns for me can be handled, which is close to the prone squeeze that a lot of people are very against, but it's similar because of the deep squeeze. And I do think some of my meltdowns do occur because of issues with proprioception. I said that wrong. That was like a mixture of what I was trying to say and conception. Goodness. If you have a child with these issues, I would recommend even a tiny indoor trampoline, pillows that you can actually put your arms through like this and squeeze, and also just lots and lots of dance. Thank you. Told you I was a moon goddess, but not Chinese. How you choose to deal with these issues depends on whether you are trying to calm an overstimulated child or adult. Hi, I'm on the spectrum. I probably should have put that in the intro. Or are you trying to help make a sensory seeking child more alert and happier? Because those are going to be different things. If you're trying to calm someone down, for example, deep pressure, tight hugs, all that, depending on you know yourself or your autistic person. Or is it like when I go to a store and I see a bunch of shiny dresses and I need to touch them all, and then I lose track of where my body is and I knock things over. So you need to maybe send me to play Red Rover or come on over with some sensory toys so that I can squeeze them. I'm saying like I'm your kid and I'm probably older than you, so I'm sorry if that's weird. Triggers for proprioceptive issues can vary greatly depending on the autism subtype, whether the issues come from sensory seeking or from sensory overload. I do both. I think most of us who are on the spectrum do both. Identifying the triggers for that is important because I know one for me was playgrounds, or in fact sports. It's not that I didn't like playing sports, it's that I was confused about where I was. I was actually forbade from being on a basketball team despite being tall for a 6th grade girl. I'm the same height I was then at 5'5", because I was so, aggressive. Because I couldn't tell where my elbows were, and look at these. You don't want to get hit by that? So, back to the triggers for your kid instead of my life story. Playgrounds, amusement parks, water parks, music can do it. Not for me. That's one of the things that helps me kind of get in my zone, but part of my dancing is just me boxing myself into where I feel. Maybe that's why Britney Spears dances like this. Maybe Britney Spears has that issue, so she's like trying to make space for herself. I'll stop. I'll get back to being serious. I'm sorry. One thing I would like to touch on again, because I am not an expert on this, and I'll make more videos about this topic specifically because now I'm fascinated by it, that, like I said, my professional friend pointed out that I do it so much in photos, and now it's like big light bulb moment. It interferes with sleep. I think it's the reason I wake up feeling like a giant Pikachu. Have you ever felt like you were falling asleep and then you fell into your body? because you're like above your body and you fell into it. Imagine that on steroids and you're Pikachu. Like you're the Hulk and Pikachu at once. And you just wake up like that. Because that's definitely what happens to me. And it happens a lot. It's almost an every night occurrence. Wouldn't you say it's like almost every day?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. And it's difficult. And for that reason, I recommend getting deep pressure garments if you don't have a weighted husband to help you out. You know, it's difficult. I'm trying to think of what else I can compare it to. And I'm about to get a little grown folk drink, okay? In case you're watching this with your child and you're like Mormon. If you've ever like drank too much and woke up feeling a little too shaky, imagine that, but again, on steroids and you're Pikachu. I wake up feeling like electric bolts could shoot from my body and like I don't really know where my arms and legs end. That's an odd feeling. And if your child cannot verbalize that feeling and wakes you up constantly, I personally remember my mom, you know, may she rest in peace, saying, I basically did not sleep at all and I would wake up kind of freaked out for no reason. And I think we have the answer now. It's because of a very electrical, weird feeling that occurs when you don't know what's going on with your body. So if you have a child who's not able to communicate that with you yet, or ever, or an adult, I'm just trying to let you know from my perspective what that feels like. And if you go watch just the music video from Over the Moon for Ultraluminary, you'll see the goddess body changing, and it looks fun for her. But when you're just trying to wake up and take another melatonin or something, it's not the move.
Nobody's in a rush.
Please be aware that this is not just an autism thing, and if you have, or you yourself are neurodivergent, like have ADHD or anything else like that, you could also be dealing with this at a larger rate, especially like if you're one of those kids, or were one of those kids who chewed on your pens. Bless your heart. I think all my friends on the spectrum did that, and I was the pen tapper. And we all drove each other nuts. If you've got a student like that, or you were like that, you might want to look into this a little bit more as far as why you do that to stay focused, why you do other things like sitting with your legs folded under. That's another symptom. That's one I do very bad. I actually did it so bad that, and for so long, that I permanently messed with my own foot. So I hope you liked this video on proprioceptive issues pertaining to autistics, and I hope to do more videos about this. And everyone have a great weekend.